Tell yourself there is a way. All thoughts are magnetic. It's believing there is a way that is important. When you believe there is a way, you automatically convert negative energy into positive energy. You see in any situation what you expect to see. See the good side and conquer defeat. All things do work together for good if you'll just develop clear vision. The difference between success and failure is found in one's attitudes towards setbacks, handicaps, discouragements, and other disappointing situations. When you lose, learn, and then go on to win next time. Stop blaming luck. Research every setback. Find out what went wrong. Blaming luck never got anyone where he wanted to go. Remember, there is a good side in every situation. Find it. A goal is an objective, a purpose. A goal is more than a dream. It's a dream being acted upon. Nothing happens, no forward steps are taken until a goal is established. Without goals, individuals just wander through life. Goals are as essential to success as air is to life. No one ever stumbles into success without a goal. No one ever lives without air. Get a clear fix on where you want to go. The important thing is not where you were or where you are, but where you want to get. The only way to get full power, to develop full go force, is to do what you want to do. Surrender to desire and gain energy, enthusiasm, mental zip, and even better health. It's never too late to let desire take over. Energy increases, multiplies, when you set a desired goal and resolve to work toward that goal. When you surrender yourself to your desires, when you let yourself become obsessed with a goal, you receive the physical power, energy, and enthusiasm needed to accomplish your goal. The most amazing thing about a deeply entrenched goal is that it keeps you on course to reach your target. When you surrender to your goal, the goal works itself into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is always in balance. Your conscious mind is not, unless it is in tune with what your subconscious mind is thinking. Without full cooperation from the subconscious mind, a person is hesitant, confused, indecisive. With your goal absorbed into your subconscious mind, you react the right way automatically. The conscious mind is free for clear, straight thinking. The goal constantly speaks. I am the image you want to make real. Here is what you must do to make me real. Set goals to get things done. Act on your ideas and gain mind tranquility. The person determined to achieve maximum success learns the principle that progress is made one step at a time. Every big accomplishment is a series of little accomplishments. Cross bridges when you come to them. Many things determine how long you will live. Weight, heredity, diet, psychic tension, personal habits. The quickest way to the end is to retire and do nothing. Every human being must keep an interest in life just to keep living. Is hope enough? Why not take action to support your hope? Action cures fear. Hope is a start, but hope needs action to win victories. Next time you experience big fear or little fear, steady yourself. Then search for an answer to this question: what kind of action can I take to conquer my fear? Isolate your fear. Then take appropriate action. Build confidence and destroy fear. Yes, fear is real, and we must recognize it exists before we can conquer it. Worry, tension, embarrassment, panic all stem from mismanaged negative imagination. The old "it's only in your mind" treatment presumes fear doesn't really exist, but it does. Fear is real. Fear is success enemy number one. Fear stops people from capitalizing on opportunity. Fear wears down physical vitality. Fear closes your mouth when you want to speak. Truly, fear is a powerful force. In one way or another, fear prevents people from getting what they want from life. Condition yourself with this fact: all confidence is acquired, developed. No one is born with confidence. Those people you know who radiate confidence, who have conquered worry, who are at ease everywhere and all the time, acquired their confidence, every bit of it. You can too. Every day, thousands of people bury good ideas because they are afraid to act on them. And afterward, the ghosts of those ideas come back to haunt them. No person is all good, and no person is all bad. The perfect person just doesn't exist. If we let our thinking go uncontrolled, we can find much to dislike in almost anyone. If we manage our thinking properly, if we think right toward people, we can find many qualities to like and admire in the same person. View it this way: your mind is a mental broadcasting station. This broadcasting system transmits messages to you on two equally powerful channels. Channel P, positive, and Channel N, negative. Bear in mind that the longer you stay tuned to either Channel P or Channel N, the more interested you become and the harder it is to switch channels. This is true because one thought, positive or negative, sets off a whole chain reaction of similar thought. You own it, so manage your thought broadcasting station. When your thoughts turn to people, make Channel P your listening habit. If Channel N cuts in, say stop. Then switch channels. To make the switch, all you must do is think of one positive quality about the individual. In true chain reaction style, this one thought will lead to another and another, and you will be glad. When you are alone, you and only you can decide whether you will listen to Channel P or Channel N. But when you are talking with someone else, that person has a measure of control over how you think. We must remember that most people do not understand the concepts of thinking right toward people. Thoughts breed like thoughts. There is real danger that if you listen to negative comments about another person, you too will go negative toward that person. These things backfire, boomerang. Make a forceful promise to yourself. Refuse to let others prejudice your thinking. Stay tuned to Channel P. Someone once said that the saddest words of tongue or pen are these: "It might have been." Give your ideas value by acting on them, regardless of how good the idea. Unless you do something with it, you gain nothing. Where there's a will, there's always a way.
To live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in the suffering. If there is a purpose in life at all, there must be a purpose in suffering and in dying. But no man can tell another what this purpose is. Each must find out for himself and must accept the responsibility that his answer prescribes. If he succeeds, he will continue to grow in spite of all indignities. He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how. What alone remains is the last of human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in a given set of circumstances. If someone now asked of us the truth of Dostoevsky's statement that flatly defines man as a being who can get used to anything, we would reply, yes, a man can get used to anything, but do not ask us how. Man's search for meaning is the primary motivation in his life, and not a secondary rationalization of instinctual drives. This meaning is unique and specific in that it must and can be fulfilled by him alone. Only then does it achieve a significance which will satisfy his own will to meaning. There are some authors who contend that meanings and values are nothing but defense mechanisms, reaction formations, and sublimations. But as for myself, I would not be willing to live merely for the sake of my defense mechanisms, nor would I be ready to die merely for the sake of my reaction formations. Man, however, is able to live and even to die for the sake of his ideals and values. Man needs something for the sake of which to live. The existential vacuum is a widespread phenomenon of the 20th century. It may be due to a twofold loss which man has had to undergo since he became a truly human being. At the beginning of human history, man lost some of the basic animal instincts in which an animal's behavior is embedded. Man has suffered another loss in his more recent development, inasmuch as the traditions which buttressed his behavior are now rapidly diminishing. No instinct tells him what he has to do, and no tradition tells him what he ought to do. Sometimes he does not even know what he wishes to do. Instead, he either wishes to do what other people do, conformism, or he does what other people wish him to do, totalitarianism. The existential vacuum manifests itself mainly in a state of boredom. Now we can understand Schopenhauer when he said that mankind was apparently doomed to vacillate eternally between the two extremes of distress and boredom. Such widespread phenomena as depression, aggression, and addiction are not understandable unless we recognize the existential vacuum underlying them. Moreover, there are various masks and guises under which the existential vacuum appears. Sometimes the frustrated will to meaning is vicariously compensated for by a will to power, including the most primitive form of the will to power, the will to money. In other cases, the place of frustrated will to meaning is taken by the will to pleasure. That is why existential frustration often eventuates in sexual compensation. We can observe in such cases that the sexual libido becomes rampant in the existential vacuum. The meaning of life differs from man to man, from day to day, and from hour to hour. What matters, therefore, is not the meaning of life in general, but rather the specific meaning of a person's life at a given moment. To put the question in general terms would be comparable to the question posed to a chess champion. Tell me, master, what is the best move in the world? There simply is no such thing as the best, or even a good move, apart from a particular situation in a game. The same holds for human existence. One should not search for an abstract meaning of life. Everyone has his own specific vocation or mission in life to carry out a concrete assignment which demands fulfillment. Therein he cannot be replaced, nor can his life be repeated. Everyone's task is as unique as his specific opportunity to implement it. As each situation in life represents a challenge to man and presents a problem for him to solve, the question of the meaning of life may actually be reversed. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. Each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life he can only respond by being responsible, the very essence of human existence. Live as if you were living already for the second time, and as if you had acted the first time as wrongly as you are about to act now. It seems to me that there is nothing which would stimulate a man's sense of responsibleness more than this maxim, which invites him to imagine first that the present is past, and second, that the past may yet be changed and amended. Such a precept confronts him with life's finiteness, as well as the finality of what he makes out of both his life and himself. By declaring that man is responsible and must actualize the potential meaning of his life, I wish to stress that the true meaning of life is to be discovered in the world rather than within man or his own psyche. Being human always points and is directed to something or someone other than oneself, be it a meaning to fulfill or another human being to encounter. The more one forgets himself, by giving himself to a cause to serve or another person to love, the more human he is and the more he actualizes himself. What is called self-actualization is not an attainable aim at all, for the simple reason that the more one would strive for it, the more he would miss it. In other words, self-actualization is possible only as a side effect of self-transcendence. We can discover this meaning in life in 3 different ways. 1, by creating a work or doing a deed. 2, by experiencing something or encountering someone. And 3, by the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. The first, the way of achievement or accomplishment, is quite obvious. The second and third need further elaboration. The second way of finding a meaning in life is by experiencing something, such as goodness, truth, and beauty. By experiencing nature and culture, or, last but not least, by experiencing another human being in his very uniqueness. Love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of his personality. The third way of finding a meaning in life is by suffering. We must never forget that we may also find meaning in life even when confronted with a hopeless situation, when facing a fate that cannot be changed. For what then matters is to bear witness to the uniquely human potential at its best, which is to transform a personal tragedy into a triumph, to turn one's predicament into a human achievement. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. Man's main concern is not to gain pleasure or to avoid pain, but rather to see a meaning in his life. That is why man is even ready to suffer, on the condition, to be sure, that his suffering has a meaning. To suffer unnecessarily is masochistic rather than heroic. He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how. There are situations in which one is cut off from the opportunity to do one's work or to enjoy one's life. But what never can be ruled out is the unavoidability of suffering. In accepting this challenge to suffer bravely, life has a meaning up to the last moment, and it retains this meaning literally to the end. In other words, life's meaning is an unconditional one, for it even includes the potential meaning of unavoidable suffering. He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how.
The human brain. An amazingly complex and extraordinary electrical and chemical universe, composed of over 200 billion nerve cells, each individual in purpose and unique in function, each interweaving and joining to form an enchanted loom of over a quadrillion connections. The human brain, a 3-pound mass of pinkish-gray tissue that would hardly rate the second glance of a casual observer. Yet within its dark furrows, folds and chambers lies the divine spark of light that gives animated life to the human body, and the power of raw, godlike intelligence to the mind. The power that allows man to think, reason, and feel, comprehend, understand, and remember, desire, create, and achieve. The energized substance that enables one to transform thought into action and vision into reality. The human brain is a high-powered optical processor that can quickly retrieve from its depths of memory any chosen amount of the billions of pieces of information that comes in through the eyes and senses during each waking second. In the act of retrieval, it can replay three-dimensionally in the mind's eye all of the vividness, sensory richness, feeling, and emotion associated with the original memory event. This unique ability of the human brain to form rich, emotion-provoking visual images is what separates man from animal. It is this internal light of the mind, this language of the brain, which we call intelligence, creative power, and imagination. The mind of man is capable of anything because everything is in it. All of the past as well as all of the future. We now know that the brain is not only the storehouse of knowledge, but is literally the key to our success or failure in life. Achieving our goals and our heart's desire is not determined primarily by outside influences, but by our own mind and the images we create and store within it. The basic laws that govern modern physics, and that are the very foundation of our world's technological developments, were first visualized in the mind of an uneducated 16-year-old boy who imagined himself riding on a beam of light as it traveled through space at 186,000 miles per second. This young man, Albert Einstein, later clothed his sensory impressions of that imaginary ride through space in mathematical terms, formulating the theory of relativity. Wolfgang Mozart, one of the world's great composers, saw, heard, and felt each masterpiece in his mind before it was composed on paper. Michelangelo attributed his genius in sculpture to his ability to first envision in raw marble a detailed, three-dimensional image of the work he had first conceived in his mind. History is replete with examples of great achievers who equated their power of success with their ability to first formulate in their mind's eye an intensely vivid, sensory-detailed image of that which they desired to create, possess, and achieve. Everything that man has ever accomplished and achieved, every great work, every discovery, first existed in someone's mind in the form of a vivid image. Every act, every deed that has enabled man to progress and motivated him to excel and achieve was first born three-dimensionally in the mind. Not only do mental images exert influence over man's creative self, they also have tremendous power over his body. Our bodies react to mental images in ways similar to how they react to images from the outside, concrete world. Edmund Jacobson, an American physiologist, has shown that if you can graphically picture yourself running, for example, feeling the strain of the muscles in your legs, feeling the blood rushing through your body to energize and nourish it, sensing your heart rate accelerating to maximum capacity, that during this imagery exercise alone, the muscles in your body will actually undergo subtle but measurable contractions comparable to the changes that occur during actual physical running. Recently, research has shown that people can have extraordinary control over the parts of their body whose functions were previously thought to be under involuntary control. Their ability to accomplish such feats were shown to be made up of vivid, sensory-enriched visualization. Many medical doctors have adapted the visualization technique for their disease-afflicted patients, having them picture themselves as healthy, disease-free individuals. These doctors often guide their patients into imagining that their white blood cells are white knights, attacking and destroying their diseases and malignancies. What energy force is it that transforms a vivid image held in our imaginations into concrete reality? Through advances in the brain sciences, physics, and mathematics, The age-old phenomenon of visualization can be easily explained and simply understood. You'll have the power to take full control of your life and have greater control of the circumstances around you. One cancer doctor has his patients visualize their cancer as chopped up hamburger meat and their white blood cells as dogs devouring and destroying the hamburger. Images held intently in the mind can literally affect every cell in the human body. Besides affecting our bodies, imagery has power over our lives and the opportunities made available for us to achieve our hopes and aspirations. Have you ever noticed that when you wake up with a cheerful disposition, with a positive attitude toward yourself and high expectations of the coming day, that your sensory impressions actually manifest themselves in the external world? A person who is sensitive to this cause and effect relationship feels intuitively that almost like magic, any pure image that he can hold in his mind will eventually manifest itself into a physical, concrete reality. Taking visualization and its power one step further, physicists have begun to study body energy and its effects on the world outside of the body. Numerous experiments have been conducted that clearly illustrate that visual images, embellished with the rich sensory detail of sound, touch, taste, smell, and fired with emotion, can produce measurable energy that directly affects objects in the physical world. The researchers also found that if the images were vague, lacking in detail and feeling, they possessed no power to impact upon matter. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Positive and wishful thinking, artificial hype, and external motivation alone will not produce the power to change your internal and external world. Only thinking in your heart, heartfelt, sensory-inspired, three-dimensional visualization is the key to your power. If you can think in your heart, allowing yourself to make full contact with every one of your personal and professional aspirations, seeing them, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling them, and sensing the strong emotions that accompany their ultimate fulfillment, you will burn them indelibly into your brain and nervous system and create a force internally and in the external world for their realization. The richer and more intense your dreams become, the better your chances for success. If an image we hold in our mind ultimately expresses itself in concrete reality, then each of us possesses the power of creation, the power to make of our lives that which we desire, the power to create a personal inner and outer world that is rich in purpose and content, a world that is laced with achievement and success. Vivid, sensory-rich visualization is the mechanism of this creation. The act of visualization and the resultant power that the image possesses to influence one's body, mind, and environment has mystified and intrigued mystics, philosophers, and poets throughout history. For thousands of years, man has yearned to know what it is that enables him to see, with his eyes closed, the same detailed images that reflect the reality he perceives with his eyes open. You'll be able to harness the same powers of body and mind that have inspired and guided all of the world's great achievers to high levels of personal and professional achievement.
The mind is the most delicate, most sensitive instrument in all creation. Through nutritional research, we've learned that the body reflects the diet fed the body. Physical stamina, resistance to disease, body size, even how long we live are all closely related to what we eat. The body is what the body is fed. By the same token, the mind is what the mind is fed. Mind food, of course, doesn't come in packages, and you can't buy it at the store. Mind food is your environment. All the countless things that influence your conscious and subconscious thought. Each of us inherited a certain capacity to develop. But how much of that capacity we have developed and the way we have developed that capacity depends on the kind of mind food we feed it. The mind reflects what its environment feeds it, just as surely as the body reflects the food you feed it. As the saying goes, you are a product of your environment. Mark it well. Environment shapes us, makes us think the way we do. Try to name just one habit or one mannerism you have that you did not pick up from other people. Relatively minor things, like the way we walk, cough, hold a cup. Our preferences for music, literature, entertainment, clothing, all stem in very large part from environment. More important, the size of your thinking, your goals, your attitudes, your very personality is formed by your environment. Prolonged association with negative people makes us think negatively. Close contact with petty individuals develops petty habits in us. On the bright side, companionship with people with big ideas raises the level of our thinking. Close contact with ambitious people gives us ambition. You will change over the months and years, this we know. But how you will change depends on your future environment, the mind food you feed yourself. Recondition yourself for success. The number one obstacle on the road to high-level success is the feeling that major accomplishment is beyond reach. This attitude stems from many, many suppressive forces that direct our thinking toward mediocre levels. To understand these suppressive forces, let's go back to the time we were children. As children, all of us set high goals. At a surprisingly young age, we made plans to conquer the unknown, to be leaders, to attain positions of high importance, to do exciting and stimulating things, to become wealthy and famous. In short, to be first, biggest, and best. And in our blessed ignorance, we saw our way clear to accomplish these goals. But what happened? Long before we reached the age when we could begin to work toward our great objectives, a multitude of suppressive influences went to work. From all sides we heard, it's foolish to be a dreamer, and that our ideas were impractical, stupid, naive, or foolish. That you have got to have money to go places. That luck determines who gets ahead, or you've got to have important friends. Or you're too old or too young. As a result of being bombarded with the "you can't get ahead, so don't bother to try" propaganda, most people you know can be classified into three groups. First group, those who surrendered completely. The majority of people are convinced deep down inside that they haven't got what it takes, that real success, real accomplishment is for others who are lucky or fortunate in some special respect. You can easily spot these people because they go to great lengths to rationalize their status and explain how happy they really are. This group is, in reality, just the other extreme of the discontented job switcher searching for opportunity. Rationalizing yourself into a rut, which incidentally has been described as a grave with both ends open, can be as bad as wandering aimlessly, hoping opportunity will somehow, someday, hit you in the face. Second group, those who surrendered partially. A second but much smaller group enters adult life with considerable hope for success. These people prepare themselves, they work, they plan. But after a decade or so, resistance begins to build up. This group then decides that greater success is not worth the effort. These people aren't satisfied because deep down they know they have surrendered. This group includes many talented, intelligent people who elect to crawl through life because they are afraid to stand up and run. Third group, those who never surrender. This group, maybe 2 or 3% of the total, doesn't let pessimism dictate, doesn't believe in surrendering to suppressive forces, doesn't believe in crawling. Instead, these people live and breathe success. This group is the happiest because it accomplishes the most. These people find life stimulating, rewarding, worthwhile. These people look forward to each new day, each new encounter with other people, as adventures to be lived fully. Let's be honest, all of us would like to be in the third group. The one that finds greater success each year, the one that does things and gets results. To get and stay in this group, however, we must fight off the suppressive influences of our environment. Remember, people who tell you it cannot be done almost always are unsuccessful people, are strictly average or mediocre at best in terms of accomplishment. The opinions of these people can be poison. Develop a defense against people who want to convince you that you can't do it. Accept negative advice only as a challenge to prove that you can do it. Be extra cautious about this. Don't let negative thinking people, negators, destroy your plan to think yourself to success. Negators are everywhere. They seem to delight in sabotaging the positive progress of others. They feel inadequate themselves, so they want to make a mediocre person out of you. Be extra careful. Study negators. Don't let them destroy your plans for success. How we think is directly affected by the group we're in. Be sure you're in the flock that thinks right. Ignore such negative thinkers in your midst, for often the remarks made in your direction aren't so personal as you might at first think. They are merely a projection of the speaker's own feeling of failure and discouragement. Don't let negative thinkers pull you down to their level. Let them slide by. Cling to people who think progressively. Move upward with them. You can do it simply by thinking right. Do select friends who stand above petty, unimportant things. Guard your psychological environment. Select friends who are interested in positive things, friends who really do want to see you succeed. Remember, people who tell you it cannot be done almost always are unsuccessful people. Recondition yourself for success. Be environment conscious. Just as body diet makes the body, mind diet makes the mind. Great men are those who see that thoughts rule the world. Believe you can succeed, and you will. Being interested in success is a wonderful quality. There is magic in thinking big. Not many people believe that they can move mountains. So, as a result, not many people do. On some occasion, you've probably heard someone say something like, "It's nonsense to think you can make a mountain move away just by saying, 'Mountain, move away.' It's simply impossible." People who think this way have belief confused with wishful thinking. And true enough, you can't wish away a mountain. But you can move a mountain with belief. You can win success by believing you can succeed. Belief, the "I'm positive I can" attitude, generates the power, skill, and energy needed to do. When you believe I can do it, the how to do it develops. The how to do it always comes to the person who believes he can do it. Belief, strong belief, triggers the mind to figure ways and means and how to. And believing you can succeed makes others place confidence in you. Most people do not put much stock in belief. Those who believe they can move mountains do. Those who believe they can't, cannot. Belief triggers the power to do. Actually, in these modern times, belief is doing much bigger things than moving mountains. The most essential element, in fact, the essential element in our space explorations today, is belief that space can be mastered. Without firm, unwavering belief that man can travel in space, our scientists would not have the courage, interest, and enthusiasm to proceed. Belief in great results is the driving force. Belief in success is the one basic, absolutely essential ingredient of successful people. Believe, really believe you can succeed, and you will. The "okay, I'll give it a try, but I don't think it will work" attitude produces failures. In a casual sort of way, the failure drops a remark like, "To tell the truth, I didn't think it would work," or "I had my misgivings before I even started out," or "Actually, I wasn't too surprised that it didn't work out." Disbelief is negative power. When the mind disbelieves or doubts, the mind attracts reasons to support the disbelief. Doubt, disbelief, the subconscious will to fail, the not really wanting to succeed, is responsible for most failures. Think doubt and fail. Think victory and succeed. Believe you can surpass. Believe you can go beyond. Those who harbor the second-best attitude are invariably second-best doers. Belief is the thermostat that regulates what we accomplish in life. Adjust your thermostat forward. A person is a product of his own thoughts. Launch your success offensive with honest, sincere belief that you can succeed. Believe big and grow big. Your mind is a thought factory. It's a busy factory, producing countless thoughts in one day. Production in your thought factory is under the charge of two foremen, one of whom we will call Mr. Triumph and the other Mr. Defeat. Mr. Triumph is in charge of manufacturing positive thoughts. He specializes in producing reasons why you can, why you're qualified, why you will. The other foreman, Mr. Defeat, produces negative, deprecating thoughts. He is your expert in developing reasons why you can't, why you're weak, why you're inadequate. His specialty is the why you will fail chain of thoughts. Both Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat are intensely obedient. They snap to attention immediately. All you need do to signal either foreman is to give the slightest mental beck and call. If the signal is positive, Mr. Triumph will step forward and go to work. Likewise, a negative signal brings Mr. Defeat forward. To see how these two foremen work for you, try this example. Tell yourself, today is a lousy day. This signals Mr. Defeat into action, and he manufactures some facts to prove you are right. Mr. Defeat is tremendously efficient. In just a few moments, he's got you sold. It is a bad day. But tell yourself, today is a fine day. And Mr. Triumph is signaled forward to act. He tells you, this is a wonderful day. The weather is refreshing, it's good to be alive. Today you can catch up on some of your work, and then it is a good day. Mr. Defeat will convince you that you will fail, while Mr. Triumph will demonstrate why you will succeed. Now, the more work you give either of these two foremen, the stronger he becomes. If Mr. Defeat is given more work to do, he adds personnel and takes up more space in your mind. He will take over the entire thought manufacturing division, and virtually all thought will be of a negative nature. The only wise thing to do is fire Mr. Defeat. You don't need him. Use Mr. Triumph 100% of the time. When any thought enters your mind, ask Mr. Triumph to go to work for you. He'll show you how you can succeed. Most people will continue to worry, to be afraid, to crawl through life feeling unimportant, unappreciated, not able to do what they want to do. Those who convert opportunity into reward will be those wise people who learn how to think themselves to success. Walk in. The door to success is open wider than ever before. Think success. Don't think failure. When you face a difficult situation, think, I'll win. Not, I'll probably lose. When you compete with someone else, think, I'm equal to the best, not, I'm outclassed. When opportunity appears, think, I can do it, never, I can't. Let the master thought, I will succeed, dominate your thinking process. Thinking success conditions your mind to create plans that produce success. Thinking failure does the exact opposite. Failure thinking conditions the mind to think other thoughts that produce failure. Remind yourself regularly that you are better than you think you are. Never, yes, never sell yourself short. The size of your success is determined by the size of your belief. Think little goals and expect little achievements. Think big goals and win big success. Remember this too. Big ideas and big plans are often easier, certainly no more difficult, than small ideas and small plans. Great men are those who see that thoughts rule the world. Believe you can succeed, and you will. I'm going to live until I die, and I'm not going to get life and death confused. Cure yourself of excusitis, the failure disease. You will find that the more successful the individual, the less inclined he is to make excuses. But the fellow who has gone nowhere and has no plans for getting anywhere always has a book full of reasons to explain why. Persons with mediocre accomplishments are quick to explain why they haven't, why they don't, why they can't, and why they aren't. Like any disease, excusitis gets worse if it isn't treated properly. A victim of this thought disease goes through this mental process. I'm not doing as well as I should. What can I use as an alibi that will help me save face? Poor health? Lack of education? Too old? Too young? Bad luck? Personal misfortune? The way my family brought me up? Once the victim of this failure disease has selected a good excuse, he sticks with it. Then he relies on the excuse to explain to himself and others why he is not going forward. And each time the victim makes the excuse becomes embedded deeper within his subconsciousness. Thoughts, positive or negative, grow stronger when fertilized with constant repetition. At first, the victim of excusitis knows his alibi is more or less a lie. But the more frequently he repeats it, the more convinced he becomes that it is completely true, that the alibi is the real reason for his not being the success he should be. Excusitis appears in a wide variety of forms, but the worst types of this disease are health excusitis, intelligence excusitis, age excusitis, and luck excusitis. Health excusitis ranges all the way from the chronic "I don't feel good" to the more specific "I've got such and such wrong with me." Bad health, in 1,000 different forms, is used as an excuse for failing to do what a person wants to do. Millions and millions of people suffer from health excusitis, but is it in most cases a legitimate excuse? Think for a moment of all the highly successful people you know who could, but who don't, use health as an excuse. The perfect specimen of adult life is non-existent. There is something physically wrong with everybody. Many surrender in whole or in part to health excusitis, but success-thinking people do not. I'd resolve to live until I die. I'm going to live until I die, and I'm not going to get life and death confused. While I'm on this earth, I'm going to live. Every minute a person spends worrying about dying is just 1 minute that fellow might as well have been dead. Worry about it, and you may have real trouble. I'm not going to think myself to bed. Refuse to talk about your health. The more you talk about an ailment, even the common cold, the worse it seems to get. Talking about bad health is like putting fertilizer on weeds. Success-minded people defeat the natural tendency to talk about their bad health. I always beg worriers to exercise some self-control. Refuse to worry about your health. Be genuinely grateful that your health is as good as it is. I felt sorry for myself because I had ragged shoes until I met a man who had no feet. Instead of complaining about not feeling good, it's far better to be glad you are as healthy as you are. Remind yourself often, it's better to wear out than rust out. Life is yours to enjoy. Don't waste it. Intelligence excusitis, or I lack brains, is common. People suffering from this particular type of the malady suffer in silence. Not many people will admit openly that they think they lack adequate intelligence. Rather, they feel it deep down inside. Most of us make two basic errors with respect to intelligence. We underestimate our own brain power. We overestimate the other fellow's brain power. Many people sell themselves short. They fail to tackle challenging situations because it takes a brain. What really matters is not how much intelligence you have, but how you use what you do have. The thinking that guides your intelligence is much more important than the quantity of your brain power. Let me repeat, for this is vitally important. The thinking that guides your intelligence is much more important than how much intelligence you may have. Not even a PhD degree can override this basic success principle. Nearly always, it's attitude. We can't do much to change the amount of native ability, but we can certainly change the way we use what we have. Knowledge is power when you use it constructively. Closely allied to intelligence excusitis is some incorrect thinking about knowledge. We often hear that knowledge is power, but this statement is only a half-truth. Knowledge is power only when put to use, and then only when the use made of it is constructive. The story is told that the great scientist Einstein was once asked how many feet are in a mile. Einstein's reply was, "I don't know. Why should I fill my brain with facts I can find in 2 minutes in any standard reference book?" Einstein taught us a big lesson. He felt it was more important to use your mind to think than to use it as a warehouse for facts. The ability to know how to get information is more important than using the mind as a garage for facts. What I want around me are people who can solve problems, who can think up ideas. People who can dream and then develop the dream into a practical application. Never underestimate your own intelligence, and never overestimate the intelligence of others. Don't sell yourself short. Concentrate on your assets. Discover your superior talents. Remind yourself several times daily, my attitudes are more important than my intelligence. At work and at home, practice positive attitudes. See the reasons why you can do it, not the reasons why you can't. Develop an I'm winning attitude. Put your intelligence to creative, positive use. Use it to find ways to win, not to prove you will lose. Remember that the ability to think is of much greater value than the ability to memorize facts. Use your mind to create and develop ideas, to find new and better ways to do things. Age excusitis, the failure disease of never being the right age, comes in two easily identifiable forms: the I'm too old variety and the I'm too young brand. You've heard hundreds of people of all ages explain their mediocre performance in life something like this: I'm too old or too young to break in now. I can't do what I want to do or am capable of doing because of my age handicap. Really, it's surprising how few people feel they are just right age-wise, and it's unfortunate. This excuse has closed the door of real opportunity to thousands of individuals. They think their age is wrong, so they don't even bother to try. The I'm too old variety is the most common form of age excusitis. This disease is spread in subtle ways. Curing yourself of age excusitis often opens doors to opportunities that you thought were locked tight. When you beat down your fears of age limitations, you add years to your life as well as success. Old age is a failure disease. Defeat it by refusing to let it hold you back. Don't be age conscious. Your age won't be a handicap unless you make it one. Age has no real relation to ability, unless you convince yourself that years alone will give you the stuff you need to make your mark. Look at your present age positively. Practice looking forward to new horizons and gain the enthusiasm and the feel of youth. Invest future time in doing what you really want to do. It's too late only when you let your mind go negative and think it's too late. Stop thinking, I should have started years ago. That's failure thinking. Instead think, I'm going to start now. My best years are ahead of me. That's the way successful people think. People who rise to the top in any occupation get there because they have superior attitudes and use their good sense in applied hard work. Don't be a wishful thinker. Don't waste your mental muscles dreaming of an effortless way to win success. We don't become successful simply through luck. Success comes from doing those things and mastering those principles that produce success. Don't count on luck for promotions, victories, the good things in life. Luck simply isn't designed to deliver these good things. Instead, just concentrate on developing those qualities in yourself that will make you a winner. I'm going to live until I die, and I'm not going to get life and death confused.